So the skill of completing the square, some of you had figured out, some of you knew it was going to be that 16 that we saw last time. Some of you maybe didn't see that. Let me give you a little piece of advice as to how you can always find the right number to complete the square. Some of your problems are going to look like this. It's going to say complete the square. X squared plus, I don't know, 12x plus blank. Okay, or maybe the book uses a C, a variable back here. Okay. Well, what number would this have to be? What number would this C value, or this blank, what number would I have to put in this blank to make this become a perfect square, Drew?
36.
36. And how are you getting 36?
Well, you want to have two of the same numbers. So
You want to have two of the same numbers.
6 plus 6 is
Why'd you, 6 plus 6 is 12. Yeah, the two numbers got to add to 12. And then,
you have to multiply to 36.
yep, and then obviously if you choose 6 and 6, that adds to 12, they multiply to 36. So this definitely would have to be the number 36, because now if you factored it, what would you get? X plus 6 quantity squared. Okay? Here's a little trick for you. See this value right here? Cut it in half. What do you get?
6.
6. Then square that number. 36. Okay? The thought process that some of you are already taking is perfect, but some people like a rule, okay? Like a cookie cutter rule, like following a recipe, okay? You want to figure out what number this is, you can always take half of the b value and square it. Half of the b value and square it. All right? What number would I need to add to x squared minus 4x to make this become a perfect square? What do you think, Joey?
4.
4. Yep. What's half of negative 4?
-2.
Negative 2, but then square it. Take it times itself. What's negative 2 times negative 2?
4.
Positive 4. It'll always be positive, right? Because when you square something, you'll always get a positive number. So now this could be written as what squared? X minus 2. X minus 2 times x minus 2. So x minus 2 times itself, or x minus 2 quantity squared. Okay? Alright, I've been easy so far. Let's try this. Now what number would have to go in that blank? Whatever 3.5 squared is, yep.
12.25.
12.25, yep. Although, I will tell you this, guys, when it comes to solving problems, like if I would set this equal to something and ask you to solve it, you're not going to want to use decimals, because you really can't simplify decimals underneath radical symbols, because when you square root both sides, you're not going to be able to do that very well. So you're going to want to use fractions. Okay?
12 1/4.
12 1/4, or actually improper fractions, okay, which would be 49/4. Now, so you might think, well, holy cow, 49, how'd you jump to that so fast, okay? Well, this is pretty easy, okay, watch. Think about this, visualize it. If you cut 7 in half, that would give you 7 over, divided by 2, right? 7 over 2. If you're going to cut 7 in half, you get 7 over 2. Everybody with me? So when I cut it in half, I get 7 over 2. And then I need to square that, right? When you square 7 over 2, all you got to do is square the 7 and square the 2. So all you're just squaring one-digit numbers. Every one of you can do that mentally. 7 times 7 gives you 49. 2 times 2 gives you 4. Your answer, 49/4. Is it wrong if you write 12.25? No. Is it wrong if you write 12 1/4? No. Okay. But when it comes to solving these, eventually, you're gonna want them in fraction form and not decimal form, because decimals don't simplify underneath radicals. You can't have decimals under radicals when you're simplifying. Okay? Then the next tricky part is, okay, so this would factor to what quantity squared?
X plus 7 halves.
X plus 7 halves. Yep. X plus 7 halves. So far, so good? Okay. Alright, so let's try this. X squared minus 16x plus 12 equals negative 40. X squared minus 16x plus 12 equals negative 40. Before we get started, before today, the two methods I had given you were solving by square roots and solving by factoring. Right now, could you solve this by square roots? Do you have a quantity squared?
Yeah.
Right now, you don't have a quantity
Oh, no.
squared. Yeah, you got an x squared, but unfortunately you also got this 16x, right? So you couldn't solve this using square roots right now. Is this factorable? Nope, not factorable. So, both methods I've taught you do not work in this particular instance. So that's why we need those other methods to solve any sort of quadratic equation. So completing the square is the method we're working on today. Okay? Is this 12 the right number?
No.
Nope, let's move it. Alright, let's move the 12 over to the other side. Now I got x squared minus 16x. I like putting the plus blank in there because I know I'm going to put a number in there to make it a perfect square. And if I subtract 12 from both sides, I have what over on the right side?
Negative 52.
Negative 52. Okay? Paul, what number needs to go in the blank to make it a perfect square?
64?
64, yep. Because half of 16 is 8, and 8 times 8 is 64. But if I add 64 to the left side, I gotta add 64 to the right side. Okay? Now I have a perfect square, so let's write it as a quantity squared. The left side is what squared? The left side is x minus 8 squared equals 12, looks like, right? Now can you solve it using square roots? You had to complete the square first to do it, but now you can solve it using square roots. I think we should be getting really good at this by now, I hope. Square root both sides. I'm not even going to write the square root in there. I'd have x minus 8 equals positive or negative. What's the square root of 12? 2 root 3, right? 2 times 3. 2 root 3. Add 8 to both sides. X equals what?
X equals
8
Plus or minus 2 root 3.
plus or minus 2 root 3. Okay? What do you guys think?
Bueno.
What?
Bueno.
Whatever.
It means good in Spanish.
Should I stop her?
Yeah, go ahead and stop it.